After 8 years of Dwight Eisenhower, two youthful candidates compete to be his successor. Kennedy is a senator with a moderate record, a telegenic face, and high minded rhetoric. Nixon is the sitting vice president with a strong Cold War record, moderate economic views, and potential likability problems. Nixon begins the campaign as a slight favorite, but every region of the country could be competitive. Key issues are the Cold War, civil rights, and healthcare. You might think, wait a second, haven't you already read that twice? Well, yeah, look, one thing I think when some of these videos have been uploaded is, could I have done this better? And so today we're going back and revisiting 1960. If you watch those two videos, which the Nixon one is one of my more viewed videos on the channel, you would probably know I failed horribly. So we are going to run both Nixon and Kennedy. We're going to run Nixon first, and then we're going to run Kennedy, going with a different VP pick. So let's get started. Richard Nixon has served as vice president for 8 years and begins the campaign as the better known of the two candidates. He has long been a staunch anti-communist and a Cold Warrior. Nixon faces similar problems as Kennedy to a lesser extent. Different wings of the parties have different demands on civil rights. On the other hand, Nixon might be in a better position than Kennedy to paint himself as strong on defense. Some voters also feel Nixon is cold and unrelatable. Okay, so we went with Henry Cabot Lodge. Henry Cabot Lodge Jr. has an impeccable pedigree, a great war record, and a career that has seen him serve as a senator and ambassador to the United Nations. He is a committed internationalist and a moderate in the party. He appeals to a similar wing of the party as Nelson Rockefeller, but is much more willing to be the running mate on a Nixon ticket. So this is who we went with last time and who Nixon went with in real life. So let's look at another one. Everett Dirksen is the Senate Minority Leader, an economic conservative and an internationalist in world affairs. He occupies the middle ground of Republican thought and hails from the key state of Illinois. He would reinforce Nixon's experience argument, having served in Congress for nearly 30 years. There's no large block of the party that would be opposed to Dirksen. Okay. Nelson Rockefeller is the well-known and popular governor of New York. Currently, he refuses to serve as vice president. However, if he was given assurances that he is the Republican heir apparent and additional promises that Nixon will run as a liberal Republican with a strong stance on civil rights, he might be persuaded. With Rockefeller on the ticket, victory in New York will be nearly assured, as well as defeat in the South. Barry Goldwater is a senator from Arizona and the uncontested standard bearer of conservative Republicans. Goldwater is to the right of the party on taxes, spending, and civil rights. Nelson Rockefeller has threatened to walk out of the convention if Goldwater is selected, which would certainly end any chance of winning New York or the Northeast. However, a Nixon-Goldwater ticket might sweep the South, and his advocates say Goldwater will drive conservative turnout nationwide. So in real life, Kennedy won the South, probably through the help of Lyndon Johnson. So honestly, Rockefeller might be our best pick. So let's go with Rockefeller. Let's see how the map is looking. That is a good, healthy map right there for us. What kind of tone will you attempt to set in your campaign? I will de-emphasize the political aspect of the campaign as much as I will praise the leadership of Eisenhower. I will pledge as much as possible to continue the policies of Dwight Eisenhower when I am president. I will also emphasize my experience in Eisenhower's administration, particularly in world affairs. Let's do that. What do you have to say about the selection of Nelson Rockefeller as your running mate? Nelson Rockefeller is a very capable man. I will be proud to have him serve as my vice president. I know this is a bold step, but I believe that Nelson Rockefeller represents the future of our party, and I believe he will be a dynamic leader of this party and nation for many years to come. Let's do that. This is exactly what Rockefeller wanted to hear, and he is putting his considerable resources at your disposal. Okay. We've got a good lead. We basically just need to play it safe. Are you satisfied with the economy and the economic policies of this country? We're on the right track economically. We can't deny that there was a recession in 1958, but the recovery has been strong. Let's go with that. Okay. All right. There was a recent effort in Congress to pass a program to provide medical care to elderly Americans, but it was narrowly defeated. Will you make a further push for this type of program as president? Let's see. So we're in the lead. So a lot of the so these regions that we're doing really good in are more conservative on healthcare. And I'm just looking, the South actually very liberal in healthcare. For Georgia, it seems like most. Interesting. So it seems like most of the country is conservative to moderate. It's the South and New York, really, that's kind of liberal on healthcare. So, let's go with a slightly different program. This is right in line with the goals of your party. Okay. So we didn't lose anything with that answer. We can maybe flip New Mexico. Let's go with that. Do you believe that the current levels of defense spending are adequate? So we are Eisenhower's VP. But so we need to hype up Eisenhower. Okay. We can always find areas for improvement. We have successfully defended the United States and our allies from numerous communist threats over the past 8 years. So, let's go with that. Okay. Is the United States adequately prepared to defend against the Soviet threat today? I am satisfied with our progress over the past few years. We have prevented further expansion while avoiding any major wars. Okay, so we are winning the popular vote as well. New York looks kind of shaky. Do you believe the United States is adequately prepared to defend against the Soviet threat over the next 10 years? I am as satisfied as I can be. Southern Republicans are insisting that you visit their region extensively during this campaign, claiming that Kennedy will be vulnerable in some states. What are your thoughts? Interesting. So, in real life, Nixon actually did make the pledge to visit all 50 states, but he injured himself and lost time campaigning in states he probably wasn't going to win. Okay. We probably shouldn't go with the all 50 states thing, although that could hype up the base, which could drive up turnout. But the South is probably the one region we're not going to win, along with Rhode Island and Massachusetts. But let's go with all 50 states. This makes everyone happy for now, but it also gives Kennedy an opening to out-campaign you in some important swing states. Okay. So that actually hurt us. Okay. At a campaign stop today in Harlem, your running mate, Nelson Rockefeller, seemed to promise that your administration would propose extensive federal civil rights legislation. Do you stand by his statement? Okay. Civil rights, we can maybe make a good case on it. So, absolutely. This statement was made with the full support of our campaign. If you want harmony in your campaign, you'd be well advised to agree with the statements of Rockefeller. Okay. There we go. That boosted us back a little bit. To what extent will you make your experience as vice president a theme of your campaign? This needs to be a key centerpiece of our campaign. Our current president is widely popular, and I can easily make the case that I was a central part of his administration. Okay. That seems to actually boost Kennedy to say that, so that's not good. No, we have no shot. Okay, we're winning that state. Maryland. Anti-Catholicism has been a huge issue thus far in the campaign, with hundreds of pamphlets and leaflets being distributed across the South and Midwest. Do you have any comment? So, basically what this is about, quick history lesson for you. Basically, Kennedy was a Catholic, and there was this fear, which kind of became a big thing in, I want to say it was 1928, when Al Smith, the then governor of New York, I believe, was running as the Democrats' candidate. A big issue was his religion, because people were afraid he would take orders from the Pope. That same issue came up again in 1960 with Kennedy being the Democrats' nominee. I don't think Nixon leaned into that. I don't really think many people leaned into that. So let's go. Honestly, I'd rather that people didn't bring this issue up. It's best to stay clear of the Catholicism issue. Anyone who thinks it's important in this election already knows about it. Okay. Should the United States apologize to the Soviet Union for the controversy surrounding the downed U-2 spy plane? Absolutely not. Okay. Did Dwight Eisenhower do the right thing when he sent federal troops to Little Rock to ensure the integration of the high school there? I believe that Eisenhower did what he had to do in this case to make sure the decisions of our Supreme Court are enforced. He absolutely did, and I would like to see further action to desegregate our schools and enforce our civil rights. How are we doing now? We're not going to win the South, so we can go kind of big on civil rights, honestly, I think. So he absolutely did. And that pretty much left us the same. There have been a large number of sit-ins recently where black students and activists are sitting at whites-only lunch counters in department stores to advocate for desegregation. Do you support this movement? Okay. I support... Okay, so here's the thing. Okay, we're back in the lead in New York. That's a big prize right there. If we lose New York, it looks like we might be losing we've got California, but if we lose California and New York, we lose the election pretty much. Most states seem to be moderate on civil rights, except for the South. So maybe we go with this one. I support the civil rights movement, but I'm a little concerned about the disregard for the law that some of these activists have shown. I think that would be a good way to position ourselves, saying, yes, I support this, but the law should still be upheld. I think that would be a good one. Let's go with that one. Okay, that sunk us a little bit, and we're now losing New York. So let's go back to New York. Anti-Catholicism continues to be an issue. Many newspapers have published a statement by 150 Protestant clergy, including Norman Vincent Peale, opposing any Catholic as president. Do you have any comment Not particularly. Our campaign would prefer to move on to other issues, to be perfectly honest. Okay, there we go. Oh, but we're losing now because of that. We're losing now. Okay. There has been a proposal for a series of television debates between you and Kennedy. Is this something you're interested in? I have been a champion debater for my entire life. I'd be happy to go against Kennedy on TV. Kennedy has managed to come across as your equal in these debates, and that alone is a good start for him. Okay, we're not doing good. California, during the Great Depression, the federal government began a policy of farm subsidies to stabilize farm incomes and to target a specific output of each crop. These policies still necessary in 1960. So that's not really much of an issue. Let's see. I think these programs need to be phased out over time, but in such a way that we don't bring sudden instability to our nation's farm policy. Go. We've made up some ground, but we're still kind of losing. Has the United States adequately defended against the communist threat in Indochina? Would you support further action there if necessary? We need to make sure that we don't overextend ourselves. This is a situation we need to watch carefully. I believe we need to defend South Vietnam at all costs. I would support the use of massive airstrikes okay, no, we're not going with this last one. We do not want to use tactical nuclear weapons. That would probably lose us the election in one go. Okay. So I think it looks like everywhere is kind of hawkish on the Cold War. That seems to be the main thing. So I believe that we need to defend South Vietnam at all costs. There we go. Yeah, but now we're still losing. Okay, back to New York. Currently, the highest income tax bracket pays a rate of 91%. Okay. What is your opinion on the current level of education funding in the United States? Education is a key front in our battle with communism. So let's go with that one. Try to tie it to the Cold War. Oh, shoot. Okay. Man, okay. I'm going to do another run with this, but I think I know where I messed up, so. Okay. Okay. We've made a little bit of a comeback. How serious at the current time do you believe the internal communist threat is? We should always be concerned, but the external Soviet threat should be our primary focus. Man, really, I think I'm going to have to go back because I know where I messed up. Recently, Martin Luther King Jr. was arrested at a sit-in in Atlanta and has now been sentenced to 4 months in prison for failing to get a Georgia driver's license after moving to that state. Do you have any comment or action you would like to make? I'll give a statement encouraging the state of Georgia to protect the safety. Let's Let's make a call to Mrs. King to offer our condolences, and let's demand the release of Mr. King. Okay. There we go. Okay. Eisenhower has his own responsibilities as president, but he's able to hit the trail for the last week of the campaign. He will obviously provide a huge boost wherever he appears. What do you think? Okay. If we can get New York back in our column, that's 45 electoral votes. I believe we need 269 to win. So it wouldn't put us over the top, but it could really help us out. So let's go with have him planted in New York. I want Eisenhower to plant himself in New York and stay there until election day. Obviously, this helps in New York, but you're also getting a little bump nationally from the popularity of Eisenhower. Okay. And it's in our column. Oh, no, wait, that's Maine. New York is in our column. All right. We can do this. We just need to... Okay. Texas and South California on the West Coast. Oh, nope. Okay. Kennedy is winning New York, which would be a bigger electoral prize. Yeah, let's go New York and the Eastern Seaboard. Congratulations, you have won the 1960 presidential election. With luck, you will be able to duplicate the 8 years of peace and prosperity under Eisenhower. Unfortunately, the Democrats maintain their majority in both houses of Congress. With luck, they will be good partners in a bipartisan governing coalition. Your first order of business is to mend fences with Lyndon Johnson, who is returning to his role as Senate Majority Leader. Okay, so a lot closer, but we definitely made this into a north-south race. We lost California. Barely. We barely lost California. But, I mean, Texas, we weren't going to win. Georgia, we weren't going to win. Massachusetts was actually probably closer than it should have been. New York, we barely won New York, and New York is effectively what decided this. So, essentially, we had a north-south election with Mississippi going for Byrd. Harry Byrd, who was a protest candidate, basically. So, yeah, we won. We won, barely. We got 293 electoral votes. Oh, but we lost the popular vote. Interesting. So, the popular vote went slightly more in Kennedy's favor in this game than in real life, but we won. We won the electoral vote. So... So yeah, that is a Nixon win. Now let's try to get a Kennedy win, shall we? Okay. John F. Kennedy has served as senator since 1953. He comes from a wealthy political family, possesses a youthful, telegenic appearance. He's been a moderate senator in the past and faces the challenge of winning over liberals who preferred other candidates. Furthermore, almost any stance that Kennedy takes on civil rights will alienate a key bloc of his party. One strategy to finesse these points and focus on the Cold War, Kennedy would be the first Catholic president. Lyndon Johnson is who we went with last time. Interesting. A minor candidate was Stuart Symington. Unpopular in the Deep South. Hubert Humphrey was another rival for the nomination, with clout among the agricultural and labor wings. of the party. He is basically blacklisted by the southern wing of the party for stances he had taken on civil rights. Selecting him would sacrifice the South, should increase chances of winning states like Illinois, Wisconsin, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and New York. Which are big states. So let's go with Humphrey. What kind of tone will you attempt to set in your campaign this fall? I've always been on the more moderate wing of the party. It's important to keep the Democrat Party moving in the future. A mainstream liberal, de-emphasize. Oh, wow, that's a huge hill to climb. We got New York, we've got Georgia, and Louisiana. So, this may be more accurate given your record. Let's see how it flies with the voting public this fall. What do you have to say about the selection of Hubert H. Humphrey as your running mate? Go. By selecting Humphrey, you're writing off the South and pinning your hopes on winning liberals in the North and the West. Okay. Okay, that's a slightly better odds. We got a good lead going here. Okay. Yeah, all of the South is for Byrd. Let's head to Missouri. Are you satisfied with the economy and economic policies? Go with this. That didn't really help us out that much. There was a recent effort in Congress to pass a program. Let's see. Redouble our efforts. Okay. Let's go. California is kind of close. Do you believe the current levels of defense spending are adequate? We need to be more vigilant. Okay. Go. We got a big hill to climb. Do you believe the United States is adequately prepared to defend against the Soviet threat? We have a missile gap. Okay, that sunk us a lot. Running mate Hubert H. Humphrey seemed to promise that your administration would propose extensive civil rights legislation. There we go. Okay. Let's go to Pennsylvania. Here we go. We can make this argument. Nixon and Kennedy entered Congress in the same year, 1947. Could be an interesting argument to make. Let's go with new dynamic leadership. There we go. That helped us out. We're in the race now. Anti-Catholicism has been a huge issue thus far in the campaign. Wait and see how the issue develops. And that sung us a lot. Okay. Maybe. Okay, so I think next time Catholicism comes up, because it probably will come up again, we attack it. Push for Civil Rights Act. Okay. We need to be hawkish in the Cold War. Okay. Let's get Wisconsin. But it did boost us a little bit, so. Let's go with that. It won't cripple your chances of winning the election, but there are some concerns about how passive you've been on addressing this issue. Okay. Minnesota. You're the clear winner of the first debate, and it shows in the sudden enthusiasm of your crowds. Yes. Okay, so we're in the race. Good. Would you support the passage of a federal civil rights bill as president? Okay. We can do this, I think. Montana. What would you do as president to combat increasing unemployment in America's industrial cities? No candidate has a clear majority now. Okay. We should be spending. We need more spending and should consider lower taxes. Strengthen unions and protections for nation's industry. Okay. What is your position on the power of labor unions? This seems to strike a good position. Okay. Arkansas. During the Great Depression, the federal government began a policy of farm subsidies to stabilize farm incomes and target a specific output of each crop. Okay. Did that help us? No candidate has a majority yet. Interesting. Do you support a minimum wage of $1.25 an hour with some exceptions for small business? I support this measure. And that dropped us down. Okay. Let's go Idaho. Let's go to Alaska. Do you believe that Cuba has been lost to the communists? Interesting. Let's see. Okay. How serious at the current time do you believe the internal communist threat is? Argument seems stale after years of aggressive Soviet expansion combined with a minimum number of internal security leaks. Okay. Oregon. A good thing we could do is promise to cut taxes, which Kennedy actually did. Kennedy did cut taxes. Currently, the highest income tax bracket pays a rate of 91%. Will you work harder to cut tax rates as president? Let's go ahead and promise to do that. Cutting taxes will be a popular move. and it helped us a little bit. Recently, Martin Luther King Jr. was arrested at a sit-in in Atlanta and has now been sentenced to 4 months in prison for failing to get a Georgia driver's license after moving to that state. Do you have any comment or action you would like to take? Let's go with the same thing we did with Nixon, which is make a call to offer condolences and demand the release of Mr. King. Okay? That sunk us some. You don't really have a shot of the South. Can maybe get Wisconsin. Oh, we're already at the end? Okay. If we can flip, that's 15, so that'll be 47 votes. I think that would get us there. California and the West Coast. You have enthusiastic crowds wherever you go. Unfortunately, Eisenhower has also hit the trail the final few days and is definitely helping Nixon. Good luck tonight. Sorry you have lost. Okay. Okay. So we didn't do great, but we didn't have the blowout of last time, and we still had that really good Nixon win as well. But look, I mean, so I think definitely what sunk us was what sunk me this time was my decision to go with Humphrey as a running mate and to try to focus on some of the big prizes of New York, Pennsylvania, these are good prizes for this game, by the way. 45 electoral votes in New York, 32 in Pennsylvania. I mean, that is 77. Yeah, 77 electoral votes right there. So, I mean, that's a good start from those two states. But, I mean, yeah, I pretty much said, I pretty much lost the South the second I picked Humphrey. But, I mean, a lot of these non-southern states were kind of close. I mean, look how close Hawaii and Alaska were. California was close. If I did decide to... I think I took the right moves this game, but maybe I should have taken them with Johnson as my VP pick. Either way, I'm going to end it here. That's it for this video. And I definitely did what I set out to do, which is to improve my 1960s runs. But either way, that's it for this video. Like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.